employment. In terms of the view about whether manufacturing jobs are special, I mean, people used to think that agricultural jobs were special and everything else came from agriculture. After all, farmers feed us, and where would we be without agriculture? And then manufacturing came along, and now people say, well, no, actually, our wealth comes from manufacturing. Even now, there's still among some people that bias. You're incredibly, you were disparaging about psychotherapists or personal trainers. I don't know if there are any in the audience. I don't think they take kindly to that. Psychotherapists earn £60, £100 an hour. It's a pretty damn good job. Personal trainers could earn £20, £30 an hour. Again, it's a perfectly good job. The fact is that any job, every job depends on everyone else. Manufacturing depends on services depends on manufacturing, and to privilege one at the expense of the other, I think is quite misguided. One thing that will happen is the financial sector got much too big. It got much too big, first of all, because it was subsidised by the government. It also got much too big because it went through an unprecedented bubble. If the government reforms the banking sector correctly, takes away those government subsidies, the financial sector will shrink. The result of the financial sector shrinking, we've already seen it, is that the pound has fallen. The pound was way overvalued for years. Why? Because loads and loads of people were piling into the UK economy to invest in UK shares and bonds, and that drove up the pound, and that made manufacturing shrink much too much. Now that the pound has fallen again, once the economy goes again, global economy gets going again, you will see that manufacturing will enjoy a renaissance as a result of that. So, a lot of this will be self-correcting. The important thing, as I said, don't try and protect yesterday's jobs at the expense of tomorrow's.
Okay. One more question?
Okay, hi. Thanks. My name's Dean, I'm a lawyer, so I was still crying. Well, I'm not going to take revenge while I talk about force majeure. My question is more about economics. I'm sort of interested in the economics of these sort of emerging outsourcing, offshoring locations. It seems to me that as they get more successful, there's more competition within those locations for new talent. So naturally, costs, particularly of labour, which is always one of the first things you look at when you're outsourcing is the labour savings, and those savings actually seem to come down as that country, India, costs, I know in salaries there have gone up, which then reduce the attractiveness of that location. I just wondered if there were sort of trends. I mean, that sort of then suggests that new countries come along, perhaps like Africa, you mentioned, where they can start again at a much lower cost base in India. Is that the sort of trend that we're seeing in terms of where people are offshoring to?
It's partly. I mean, that's true. I suppose it was more true when there was a constant boom. When there was this consistent constant growth in the marketplace, and so then you definitely did see this trend that India would become more expensive in general. But it's a bit more complex because you might look at say Deutsche Bank moving to Jaipur recently, for example. So even within the country, there's different costs in different locations. One of the plans that NASSCOM in India certainly has is to try and promote these second-tier cities, as they call it. But although there's the big half a dozen or so major cities in India where you have sort of very large 10 million population, there's dozens and dozens of cities that have got more than 1 million people living there, and several universities, and can support and feed people into local industry. So you're sort of seeing a correction there because of that. But at the same time, the recession, I mean, just the supply and demand is changing everything anyway as well. And that's also changing other factors, things like attrition, where you saw previously people in the service sector were very happy just to quit their job on Friday and start a new job on Monday. And you don't really see that anymore, especially in the sort of contact centres where people would job hop very frequently, and it's just not happening.
Okay, I'm afraid we'll have to bring this to a close, ladies and gents. I'm sure that Mark, Philippe, and Hilary will be more than happy to take any questions. We'll have drinks at the mezzanine. So thank you very much for